Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to make some changes in our flows and flow actions. One of the changes that we are going to do in this video is that we are going to add some conditions in some flows. The first condition is going to be in the plan reservation process. We are going to skip this process so that we go directly to the authentication stage. Another condition is going to be on the sign up. We will only start this process if the sign up checkbox is checked. In this video, we are also going to start talking about pre-processing and post-processing. So these are things that happen before or after one step. So what we are going to do is that we are going to add a new data transform that is called clean account page at the beginning of this flow. So we are going to add in the pre-processing of personal details this data transform, and we are also going to add the same data transform in the post-processing of account details. So let's get started. Let's talk about flows and flow action rules. These rules are very easy and essential concepts to understand in order to configure and design case types. A few videos back, we talked about the case lifecycle, where we discuss stages, processes, and steps. Well, a flow rule is literally a process, and a flow action rule is a step within that process. In a flow, we have these things that represent events called shapes. So far, we have only worked with collection shapes, but there are also other types of shapes. We have data transform shapes, we have activity shapes, and we have sub-process shapes, among others. Another thing that we can do with our flows, besides adding flow action rules to them or shapes, is that we can have flows that are configured to only be run based on some condition. So for example, this first flow, I can enter a condition to never run it. So here I have different types of conditions that I can enter to start this process. I can say I always want to run this process. I can have a when rule for this process or an expression. For this first flow, I'm going to add a when rule to never run this process. This is a out-of-the-box rule that is called never. So now, if I save and run, you will see that I will go directly to the authenticate process, skipping the plan reservation process. Now, the next thing is that I also want the condition for the sign-up process. I only want to go to this process if the sign-up checkbox is checked. So for this, I'm going to use an expression. So with this change, if I enter the correct credentials, I should skip to the last stage. And because there is no last stage, then my case type should end. Okay, let's test now, but for entering the sign up process. Yeah, it works. Now, I want you to notice that when we create a new case type and in the login process, we enter some information, that information will persist into our sign up process. And this is because we are using a property page that is storing this information. I don't want this to happen. I want to clean the page before entering this sign up process. And for this, I'm thinking of using a data transform. So this data transform should run whenever we enter this process. And one way to do this is by having this data transform run in the pre-processing of this flow action, personal details. So let's open this process. And now in this shape, I'm going to open the flow action. Now, in a flow action rule, we have three important tabs. We have the Layout tab, where we indicate which section we are going to use. We have the Validation tab, where we can enter a validate rule that determines things to be checked before proceeding to the next step. And then we have the Action tab. In here, we have these two important sections, pre-processing and post-processing. Here, we can add a data transform or an activity to run before or after this step. So the idea here is to run the activity to clean the data page in the pre-processing of this flow action so that we have a clean account page. So I'm going to name it clean account page. I'm going to use the action update page for my account page. And now I'm going to clean all of the properties of my page. I also want to eliminate the temporary properties that I am using. And these are the py temp text, and py temp true false. So now if I create a new case type and I enter some information here, you will see that the account page is clean when we get to this step. I also would like to clean the data page when we finish this process, because the idea is that we are going to go back to the login step once we are done signing up. But for this, I want to clean the account page. So I'm going to add the same clean account page data transform to the post-processing of account details. So before I apply the changes, let me give you an example. Okay, we have our information here for our account page. If I finish this flow and open the clipboard, go to the PY work page and the account page, you will see that we have the information of our account page. If we have this clean account page in our post-processing, and I repeat the same steps, if I click finish, the post-processing data transform will run, and we should have an empty account page. See, it is empty. So that's it for this video. In the next one, we're going to take a look at one issue or problem that we are introducing using the pre-processing data transform. And we are going to see one solution to solve this problem, which is going to be to use a data transform shape. So see you in the next video. Thanks.